this computer. Lovely. So, hello everyone, and welcome to the Talking Stick Show. So today I am joined by Nalinee Diosara and Kelly Nicholson. Hello, guys. Hello. And we're in a bit of so Nalinee's in Thailand, and we've got Kelly in America. So we're on a bit of a different time schedules. We're able to sync together. So we are doing a special spring equinox event show today, where we are welcoming the spring equinox and welcoming this sacred time as we go from the galactic winter into the galactic spring. So I'm just going to introduce first. So Kelly, tell the listeners a bit about yourself, those who do not know who you are.
Hello.
Hello,
So my
hello.
name is Kelly Nicholson. I live in Connecticut on the east coast of the US, and I am a sound healer, intuitive artist, and soul coach. And I just love sharing space with brothers and sisters and friends, and just being able to share the power of vibration and sound and connect deeper to ourselves in this way. So thank you, Dale, so much for inviting us on to jam. I love it.
Thank you. And Nalini, hello.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me as well. My name is Nalinee Diosara, and I'm a painter, and I like to simply identify myself as a conduit of light language. And I also facilitate shamanic journey with cacao and drum. And that's pretty much it. And thank you for having me again.
And thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it, both of you. We've kind of had a bit of connection when you kind of say I do a show with someone and connect with Nalinee Kelly. It's like I've known you for a long time, and we've had many different friendships in many different lifetimes. So it's an honour to have you both on to celebrate the spring equinox. So let's begin talking about the equinox. So we'll start with you, Kelly. What does the equinox mean to you?
I feel like each passing year, I get more and more connected to these cycles and seasons, and really feeling into how much I'm syncing up with them and my own cycles of death and rebirth, and finding that balance within myself of my own, energies and things. And this season, more than ever, I really felt it. And because each year, passing year, I feel like as I become more conscious and aware of my surroundings and my inner world as well. So this equinox has definitely been just a time for me to be aware of those cycles and honor it, and allow myself to open and release these old ways of what's no longer serving me. And it's definitely been doing the ceremony with Nalini yesterday, and everyone that joined was really amazing because, like so many people shared, it has been intense, our own personal journeys of what we've been, releasing and opening up to. So it had been, the transformation was real. I really feel like still in it, but so the equinox is definitely supporting that, and it just feels like a super powerful time where more energy is open and possible to us and within us. And I definitely feel coming on here is a really powerful place to just be able to share that and immerse with the two of you and the listeners. So thank you.
Outstanding. And for me, my personally, the equinox always and solstice bring up. So because we're coming into the solstice where we're having more light coming onto the planet, more photonic light, a lot of the unhealed parts of ourselves are being shown because they're being shot, kind of like shined on it in a sense. So for me, I totally relate with that each equinox and solstice, we all go through those processes of kind of like the death and the rebirth cycle, where we see parts of ourselves where we kind of have to fine tune a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
So Nalini, what does the equinox mean for you?
Everything that Kelly said. Yeah, honestly, I feel that we're going through very similar theme, but in our own ways. For me personally, I had a beautiful closure of something that I I went through for 6 to 7 years, and it also had to do with a lot of the distortion that I held dear in my heart. And I had personal reason of holding it in my heart, and it had to do with insecurity. And like the term equinox, it just brings that equilibrium and balance, is that portal of like there, what you said, in clarity, we being present in clarity of what's served and what's not. And that's what I went through throughout the 2 weeks before the equinox portal. It was intense, and I can still feel the aftermath of it, but I'm able now to simply be an observer and be gentle on myself and judge myself less and align more with gratitude. And I feel that this is what we are anchoring, really, is this, yeah, it's about that gratitude of the lessons and experience that we're going through.
That's it, and remembering to be human as well as we are spiritual beings, and we're doing so many spiritual things on the unseen side of things, this world and the other worlds, is remembering that we are human being and we have to be able to kind of be light-hearted and take the serious stick from our arse at points in time where we do get caught up in our own journey and our own bullshit and drama, and sometimes we have to kind of, it's like going back to the basics of universal law of consciousness, of going back to that state where we've been the child, or that gentleness state.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. You know, it's very much like we here participating and at the same time watching everything like a movie. And sometimes we just get so attached to the plot and get lost in the plot.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And you're so true about the movie that we sometimes have to just get the popcorn out and see what's going, and just watch what's playing out in the whole world. And so how's things been over the lockdown period? Because in England currently at the moment we are coming out of the post lockdown. So what's it like in Thailand, Nalini, at the moment for the COVID restrictions and so forth?
To me, it's pretty chill to me because we're blessed with the heat, and that's is something that we don't really need to be concerned with. And also the habit and the discipline of wearing mask is something that us Asian have way before COVID, and our attitude and reaction towards when the government say, okay, you guys gotta wear mask, we're like, okay, whatever. While the Western world that I observe, there's a lot of resistance, a lot of definition going on to limitation of free speech and free choice, which is fine. You know, it's all how we react. And I feel that it's all about purging that old karmic cycle as a collective and as a society. Yeah, for us, we're pretty chill. It's just that there's still a lot of fear circulating. And I noticed that those who feed a lot into news, into pharmaceutical advice too much, they kind of forget that the body too have our own immune system.
So yeah, remembering, yeah, the immune system, and I think the death rate is so low for the COVID. And you're right, we've gone through that change where there's so much fear in the world at the moment, and the western side of the world, they're quite concerned about the mask, while your culture have been used to, say if someone's ill, if someone's sick, they put a mask on so they don't then spread it on. That's kind of more of a normality in your DNA towards America, towards England's side. And it's remembering about who we are and going back to that place of who we are. We are heart space beings, and we can get so tied up. I see loads of people in so much anger because of the mask, because of that, and it's really violating their life journey. And in the grand scheme of things, it's really about being gentle with it and acknowledging, say if you do want to not wear a mask, and you're going to be fined £400. So it's such a difficult road. So Kelly, what's it like where you are at the moment? How has it been for you?
Um, right now, they are lifting some restrictions around certain businesses and stuff like that. So things are lifting and shifting a little bit. I have to say, there's just a lot of strong opinions and a lot of opposing opinions. And I just really use this as an opportunity to look at my own triggers. Like I've been triggered, like in the beginning, like I was triggered by the mask, and sometimes I still am a little bit, but just kind of do my best to stay in my own space and not get into the war of sides of the mask, the vaccine, the this, the that. It's like that's easier said than done. But I just do. I just kind of sink in and do what's best for me. But as this winter was, a little harder, obviously, because it's got super cold and it's so nice to be able to be outside a lot and, to not have to, I mean, I still go to restaurants. I love to eat. So I'm
Good.
still,
I
but
love food as well.
But I mean, otherwise, like it's here, it's happening. We're still moving through it. Things still feel, very tense. And like Nalini said, still a lot of fear. Of course, there's a lot of fear, like it makes sense to a lot of different ways and where people are at. And I just do my best to try to stay in my own space.
Outstanding. And for me, my own personal journey, COVID has been amazing in a sense that it's been hard on some aspects of business wise. I had to kind of switch around to go more online and go brushing myself and fine tuning the online marketing, etc. But for me, it's been the best few years of, or the best year of my life so far, is the ability for me to do my self work and the ability for me to have time to go really deeply within myself and find, like you say, Kelly, so many triggers which trigger me and make me go into program mode. And I've been doing a lot of work on myself. I've still got stuff which is coming up for me every day. There's an infinite amount of work to do, but I'm very happy we've had that time off where I've had a lot more space. Instead of me out all the time, I've got a lot more time to do the inner stuff, the inner work. And it's hard for some people because people are going to have depression, get suicidal, but I do feel sometimes that's needed for people to be able to see that they've got these inner wounds which need to be healed. And this virus is showing them this and showing them kind of a gateway. And I do believe there's a positive thing behind this virus, and it's got a very good karmic retribution behind it. So today I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about source connection and looking into that, because I was doing a meditation this morning and it really made me think about when I'm in source connection, when I'm in not source connection, and kind of going between both the two states. So let's talk a bit about source connection and first talk about what is source. So Nalini, for you, what does source mean?
It's everything, isn't it? It's Tao, Pachamama, everything that exists. It's just that our belief system and egoic personality likes to divide, and there's nothing bad about it. It's just part of the human experience. I feel that, the core, it's probably been said, and the core of this is that to shift the focus from what we are not into who we are. And the theme of love has been coming a lot. And I'm not talking about romantic love. I'm talking about how are we able to realign ourselves back with true unconditional love? Can we be away from the expectation? Can we be honest with ourselves of any distortion that we still buy into that put us in a cycle of in and out of love, of putting our inner wound, projecting on another people, whether it's family, partner, friends, etc. And this is all about remembering that the beloved is within everyone, the beloved is within us, and that too is the knowing that the source is within all. As above, so below. And some people call it God, some people call it the creator. It doesn't really matter, is it?
It's so I love hearing people's perspective on it, and that's beautiful. Nalini,
Yeah.
Kelly, for you, what does source mean to you?
I totally like ditto. What Nalini said, I feel that. you know, Source is everything. Like everything, everyone, the earth. it's an energy that we are. It is love at the core of everything. And that's like whether you call whatever you want to call it, source, God, mother, father, God, universe, like all those things, all the different religions and what they call it. Like I feel like it's all comes from one place, and to remember that we are that, we are that, and so is everyone else. The people you like and the people you don't, the things you like and the things you don't, that everything comes from that space. And that space is neutral, and the ego comes from a non-neutral space and a judgmental space. And so that is part of our human. That is where we forgot that we are source. So that space is where the distortion comes, and that's where we're in this journey of the ebb and the flow of remembering and forgetting, of being in alignment with our higher self and then being in the ego. It's this dance and this balance that we're all naturally evolving and coming into union in within ourselves. And that's where like the equinox brings us back to that balance, and that is just a sweet spot to be in.
And it is, I've been reading a book which I really recommend for everyone to read. It's called Dancing the Dream by Jamie Sams. And it's basically the 7 initiations of the sacred path and on the journey. And it talks about source connection and how we are disconnected. And for me, it's all about remembering that we live in they call it the dream weave. So like the spider's web. And we have so many things when we're walking in the dream weave, we kind of forget about source because we've got all of these issues we need to go forward with. So let's kind of dissect a little bit about source disconnection and why people cannot feel source connection. So Nalini, from your perspective, why do people have so much source disconnection on the planet at the moment?
Well, it reminds me of this Mongolian shamanism term, the wind horse. And the wind horse means life force, the intuitive flow within us. That knowing that we are always connected, that knowing that we are able to communicate with the plants, the elements, etc. And according to Mongolian shamanism, this wind horse is blocked when we're in a state of hate, fear, envy, greed, lust, anger, etc. All of this lower vibration block this wind horse. So that's possibly is the answer of why there is like this connection. And this 3D realm is a pretty dense realm, but we kind of warrior at heart, aren't we? That's why we're here. to find our way back again.
Yeah. And yeah, that's really cool. And there was a gentleman who was talking about we're here to experience source disconnection and source connection and dance between both the worlds, so we can go back and experience source connection when we pass on again, and we're like, oh, this is source connection again, and we kind of go off into being a human, and we're so far away from the connection. And that it is a beautiful experience if you think about it, because it is a school of hard knocks at the moment, and it's finding engaging that way to get back to your source stream self. And it's fucking hard for some people. For some journeys it's hard because you've got so much, like you say, Nalini, anger, the jealousy, all of the bitterness of the world projecting at you when you grow up of what truth is, or the media telling you what truth is without your ancestors and oral teachers and traditions giving you the way, like you were explaining about the shamanism path. So Kelly, for you, what's your experience with source disconnection, and why is it so hard for everyone to feel source connection in the world we live in?
Well, I feel like a lot of us look outside of ourselves for the answers. And for me, that really shifted the more I started looking inside myself. And because we are taught and programmed from a very young age about that to keep looking outside, to have other people to follow other people's opinions, to follow other people's leads. So I feel like that just is the way we've kind of been brought up. And so that's where it's like a breaking down of the mold, of the chains, of the structures of what has been. And it's just those moments of source connection can be found within anything and everything for different people. And I feel like I have found following my emotions and my feelings, like following your feelings and then being able to break away from like the dramas and like the different things and start making choices that you can choose where you want to put your energy and where you don't. So I really feel like it comes down to choice and knowing that we always have choice in every situation, and so constantly making the choices that feel best for us, not what's right, but what feels best for you. And that leads us to our more conscious connection to source, because we're always connected even when we're in the forgetful stage, in that but in the messiness. But then it kind of like we're just like navigating our own way back to that dance. And I feel like even when people are really in fear and are really in their, aren't consciously connected, I feel like still like something I've come to find forgiveness in myself when I've been in my own path prior to what you'd call awakening, opening up, is that you were always finding your way. You were always navigating, you were always moving through, even when you felt like, even like the moments where I felt the most disconnected to source, like where I didn't believe in anything and I would consider it a really dark time in my life, I was still finding my way. It was still a point on my journey here. And so what keeps coming through for me is that like you were never lost. Like you were never lost. Everyone is free. They just don't know it yet consciously. And that has really helped me. Like when that came through to me, it like it was like a shell popped off my body. Like it helped me see myself like from judging different things about the restrictions and stuff like that, and they'd be like, "We're all free."
And through your music and through your painting as well, that's an expression of yourself, and you found your authenticity, and now you're expressing that yourself. So let's talk a little bit about your music and what that does to you to connect you to source as well.
I think like any point of where you're in the midst of creation, creating anything, like my sound, the drawings, it is a it brings me directly into the present moment, out of my head. It's a way that I process my emotions and my feelings, the traumas, all the different things, like my shadow, integrating my shadow, all of that comes through when I play, when I draw. It just like the whole world opens up, like beyond this world, and it's like a power source. It's like a battery, each time it like charges me up, like fills me with more energy, more light, and just makes me more aware of that connection. So I love that sound and color and art is just anything, form of creation is a way of connecting to source. And I feel like we're all creative, even when we believe that we're not, and can find all these different outlets and whatever it is, even if you think you don't draw good, just like that's kind of what started with me, is just drawing without an idea and just letting source like and not knowing then that I was just letting light like flow through me. um yeah, it's a very magical place, and it's a very uplifting place to be, especially in these times. It's been super helpful and supportive.
And that reminds me of a childhood when I said I couldn't, someone said I couldn't draw and I couldn't sing or I couldn't do anything. And I remember as a kid in my head, I was like, right, I can't sing and I have a crap voice. And it took me to like probably until I was in my first, say maybe 29, till I actually started being comfortable singing and connecting to my heart and my throat chakra connecting together and not having this projecting on me when I was singing and going in, like you say, to that, that source connection. And that was a really powerful time for me because I had to shed off all of those judgments from other people when I was younger, saying that I couldn't do it, I couldn't sing. So I had all of this, and it was like it's kind of like a shield of disconnecting me from source, and I had to smash that off for me to get that back. So Nalini, for you, the light language as well, that really when you're speaking in that light language format, it really triggers for me a deep source connection as well. So let's expand a little bit about the light language and the source connection for you with that.
Well, it's very much like what you just said, because we've been programmed to believe or to perceive what singing must be, or even what art must be. And even when I started to channel light language, I was very insecure about, with my voice, and I still find it a bit awkward listening to my own voice in recording. I
Yeah,
avoid to
same.
do that
Still, I'm
because
still like
yeah.
that. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, no, it still tickles, when you
Yeah,
listen
yeah.
to your voice, you're like, oh my god, I sound like that. but when but when you're in the moment, it doesn't really matter. And I felt that my journey with my voice, with the light language song, kind of opened up even more back in 2017 in my experience back in Amazon. And I had to thank ayahuasca and other medicine and the whole experience, and that really reprogrammed my mind, really cleansed the body, the mental and emotion, and the spiritual level as well. And one morning I was completely naked, bathing from the stream, and I looked up at the sun, and I just wanted to sing, and I sang, and I felt so liberated. It's like, the voice is sacred. Why do we doubt ourselves in that?
It is, and you've got all the famous singers as well. They've got that those unique voices, and we kind of grow up thinking, oh, there's a big separation there between someone who's a big singer and got all this following, and it's like, for me, it's kind of like karmic mirroring Egyptian times, or any where people worshipped people, and it's kind of like you grow up in that state where that people give the power away to, say, a singer, say, I don't know who to say Britney Spears or anything. When you're younger, growing up, she was like literally all around. All you heard was Britney Spears songs, and people would literally give their power away, and be so obsessed with this voice, and they listen to their own voice. And this was a big thing for me, listening to my voice, and I was like, hang on a minute, my voice doesn't sound like all of those voices. So it was about finding that connection again, and that self-trust.
There's a part of me that still wants to sing like a rocker, but I just can't get up to that. Like I would like a voice like Ozzy Osbourne, honestly.
Yeah, mine's Jimi Hendrix. Mine would be Jimi Hendrix to get a guitar and just completely.
I've met him. Sorry, I've met him in spirit, because this may be out of topic, but I keep it short. A lady who was working in Amazon is a cousin to Jimi Hendrix. And I would see his spirit following her around the ceremony. That was quite cool. He's quite a cool dude.
Wow, he's got a very dragony energy to Jimi Hendrix. Like, it reminds me a bit like Bruce Lee, a bit of a dragon. Every time I see him, and I was listening to a gentleman called Andrew Bartis who was talking about Jimi Hendrix himself as a being, and the reason why he had all of those face issues. He had loads of different spots, and his face looked a bit, at some points, a bit like, can't really explain the words, but his face didn't look very natural at some points when he was singing. And that's because he was saying that he was bringing in so much source connection through his guitar that his body wouldn't be able to handle the amount of kind of source light coming into his body. And he was explaining about when he used to go into his guitar riffs and go off like for hours of just those guitar melodies, and he used to just be in such this frequency which everyone was just like, wow, like he just took you on a journey. And so you felt his energy from his cousin then, Nalinee?
Yeah, everyone was like, really prove it, and she's like, here's the photo. We're like, oh, okay. I felt the rainbow in him. It was something very feminine, something very spontaneous, and it's ironically, his cousin is a total opposite. She's a control freak.
Yeah, I think he was brought up in a military. I think he was in the military camp, and his ancestors, there was a lot of military going on, so there was a lot of order, a lot of order in his lineage. So the ayahuasca, so that again is a great connection to the source. So talk a little bit about ayahuasca, because for me, I've always wanted to do it. I've done DMT, but I've never done ayahuasca. what's your recommendation for ayahuasca and speaking about it now?
Well, if you have the desire to meet her, then that's the calling already, and the journey starts, and it doesn't really matter how long you take to meet her. The thing is, following your intuition and do your research. The preparation, the dieta, to me is important, because otherwise there can be blockages and distortion of the journey, because your ayahuasca likes pure water, and the dieta will guide you into abstain from masturbation, no fermented food, no coffee, and of course no cacao, and at least 1 week, no salt, no oil. All of these kinds of things is really to clear you away from attachment. And the environment is important. Who you're drinking with and who you're drinking from is important. How the brew is being brewed also affects the journey. So it's all these components that I feel that you can sit in meditation, talk to your guides, talk to the universe, call on ayahuasca spirit, and just let the universe guide you into those steps to meet her in a way that's relevant for you. That's it.
Outstanding. And I'll be doing at some point either tonight or tomorrow, I've got my mushrooms ready to do a mushroom ceremony. I'm gonna
mushroom and cacao. Mushroom and cacao is match made in heaven.
Is it? I was thinking about how to mix that. How do you mix your mushrooms into everything?
I'm not an expert in mushroom. I had only an experience, and it was very mild. You can do research on the Olmec. It's under the notion of cacao theobromine, food of God, mushroom, flesh of God, and you combine that together. For what I did was that I just drank cacao and chew mushroom. Some people might brew it together. It really depends. You can brew mushroom tea and then add cacao in. Or you can drink cacao during the journey. It's really, yeah.
So it looks like that's on the list now. Thank you, Nalinee. I'm going to, for me, so the reason why I'm doing this ceremony is I'm doing a victory ceremony where I'm going to have a fire just by myself, and I'm going to rattle and I'm going to dance as much as I possibly can, and really celebrate being here and celebrate all the shit I've gone through and overcome in my life. So I'm just going to have a Pacific fire where I'm calling and saying I'm so happy where I am, and I've recovered from all sorts of stuff in the past, and I'm here doing what I'm doing, being happy, and my family are happy. I'm in a great, obviously there's issues, which there is all the time, which I have to work through, but for me this spring, that's what it's about for me, is celebrating and dancing the dream, and knowing that I am connected to source, and going into that fire and dancing so much that I want to cry. That's what I want to do.
Yay.
Yay. Have you had any so journeying, Kelly, have you had any journeys at all, or been interested into using, I know you use cacao, is there anything you've gone into before?
I have not. Cacao. Really, I've really ventured more into the cacao with Nalinee. I had a little bit of, I had something that was similar, like made, but yeah, it's definitely always intrigued me. I may or may not have some mushrooms in my fridge, but just haven't ever taken them.
Might have been there since for like 4 months now, and I've finally got them out, and I'm like, right, you're doing it.
But yeah, that's definitely, I've always been intrigued by it and open to it for sure, and loved hearing people's experiences. Yeah, I think it's really cool. I love that that's a space that we can explore.
Outstanding. And connection as well. So we've talked about source and how to gain source and what we go through disconnection, source connection. Let's talk about connection and the importance of connection. And like, even connecting with you two and speaking to you, it really gives me inspiration and really fills me with happiness. And so Nalinee, let's talk about the importance of connection and not being a hermit, getting ourselves out there and connecting to people.
You're asking me.
Yeah. I'm a renowned hermit, so I've had to throw myself out there.
I always see us and especially myself as a high-tech hermit, in the cave with technology. For me is the four agreements been coming back, not taking anything personally, no assumption, always do your best, be impeccable to your words. This kind of thing really plant the seeds of clearer focus of how I can communicate clearer more with myself and also with others, by not be mindful of assumption that we can make, and be mindful of that we can also open our voice and learn to ask questions, learn to communicate. And when we not taking anything personally, there's lightness in the heart. It's like, okay, you go through your own thing. It's nothing had to do with me. It's on the soul level. We are all experiencing this. We are all learning to dance, and sometimes we unintentionally hurt each other. It's all about forgiveness. Yeah, my life kind of started 10 years ago only. Before that, I've been through depression and deep isolation. So my husband being a very important role of reflecting that confidence that I can learn to socialize, that I don't need to hide in a corner and be quiet.
Under the floorboards. You have to go out.
So yeah, I'm very grateful for that. I'm still learning.
That's it, and for me as well, that's been probably one of the hardest things is say doing groups and getting back into that space. Say if you do like a ceremony and you're with say 15 people, 20 people, and you have to hold the space for them, and you have to be engaged into the communication skills, listening, so on and so forth. So for me, I have to get out, and like I've got a friend Craig who I go for walks with during lockdown because you're allowed to go and meet one person, and I push myself and make sure that I'm going out and meeting him or meeting someone else just so I can keep that the social skills active, because sometimes we can slowly slip away from them, and we can kind of have these self-defeating programs to say, oh no, I won't go out today, I'll just stay in, or like those little self-defeating programs. So Kelly, let's you were talking about neutrality, and that was a great talk about connection. So let's go into connection from your experience and a little bit about neutrality, because I do feel at the moment neutrality is very important, to learn how to be neutral, to not let things overturn us.
What's the question?
So connection to you, what's connection to you then? So we're talking about connection, the importance of it, and if you can talk a little bit about neutrality as well, because I really like the thought of being neutral.
So I have found in this time of quarantine, like myself, how like even like Nalini said, like slipping into some old patterns of more like isolation, and realizing, whoa, like when I would put out an effort to meet with a friend or even like hop on the phone and talk to them, whoa, I really miss that. I found myself kind of sinking into like, oh, when stuff was going on, like that I needed to like go through it myself rather than talking to someone else. Like, so I've definitely found myself slipping into some of those old patterns, and I do love my solitude. I like to be alone. I like to be in my own space a lot, but I also do love connection with people. And it just, like you said, like us being on here, I feel so uplifted from us just coming on and talking. And when you have those conversations with people and you just are like, you get off the phone and you're like, whoa, I feel really good. Like I did that with someone last week, and I messaged her afterwards and was like, I feel amazing just from us talking. It really is important. And so it's important, to find the balance of both and what feels, right for you. And just, I mean, back to the neutrality of like everything with what's going on, just kind of speaking into myself, every single time that I find like my head, like the thoughts come into my mind and it's something that feels a little triggering or something that I'm finding I'm judging. Okay, coming back. Okay, a hawk is just sitting at a branch right up my tree.
Wow, that's That's so good. Perspective as well. There you go.
About stuff and he flies over
Wow, that's cool.
a higher um, yeah, but sound really supports me in finding the balance and the harmonies. So like feeling when I've stepped off and kind of go a little into judgment or fear or any of that, and then just like recognizing it and finding myself back and just kind of the ebb and flow of all of that, and letting what anyone else wants to do, allow them to do it. I will do what I want to do.
That's
And it
beautiful.
doesn't have to be one way. Like this, that was this has been definitely a big thing with overcoming of like my way isn't the way for everybody. I'm like, okay, yeah, like really honoring everyone's experience and however they want to choose to be it, even if I wouldn't choose that for them, and then looking at myself about that.
Outstanding. And it really is, there's an infinite number of ways back to the source, not just one, and there's an infinite. And that's the kind of things we need to remember at times, is that your perspective and Nalini's is so important, because everyone's finding their own way. And it's sometimes I do feel that with the awakening happening, there's a lot of judgment on collective awakening. But for me, it's all about an individual journey, everyone in their own time. And it's not a collective, everyone's going to awaken at one point and we're all going to ascend to the other planes. I do feel we have to learn that it's everyone's has their own personal journey back to source, and everyone will take their own time in their own time to go into that awakening state, to be able to find themselves again. And yeah, thank you both again for coming on the show. You do fill me with a lot of inspiration, both of you. It's really fun talking to you. So before we do a little bit of sound therapy, so just what's coming up for both of you? We'll start with Nalini. What's coming up for you in the future with your like sessions and your any workshops or events?
I have no idea at the moment. What am I doing? I'm going day by day, although my schedule is kind of like ahead in next month now. But what I'm looking forward to is an island trip. We're taking the train down, and that's going to be my first overnight train ride. And that's probably going to prepare me for a dream train ride from Beijing up to Mongolia. so,
Did you, but
so
wait,
that's what, yeah.
did you say you're going to Ireland?
Yeah, I'm going to an island
Oh,
next
sorry, I
month.
thought you said Ireland itself. I was like,
No, that's too
yeah,
far.
yes. I thought that was close to me. I'll come say hello.
But
And
yeah.
yeah, you go. Sorry, Nalini, you go.
But regarding my servers wise, at the moment, I'm just going with the flow, seeing where cacao takes me, and be mindful not to compare what I do with others. That can be something that my mind plays up a lot. Like, oh, look at what other people doing, kind of thing. It's like, no, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and this is me, and that's fine. And there's a divine reason in that, and I always like to discover surprises. Okay, I'm like this because of this, I'm like this because of this, and this is always leave room for me to heal. And yeah, I still channel, I paint for people now, although I don't really promote that because I don't want to cramp up too much. My relationship with my art, I'm still learning balance. Sometimes I overdo myself and I lost the joy. Sometimes I crave it, but I don't make the time. It's just mind blowing. And I'm hoping to be able to go to Mongolia. My husband wants to go back to Amazon. So I'm like, dude, if we have enough money, I'll go with you. But if we not, maybe we split. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's very special, Mongolia, and you'll have a great time there. I've booked Scotland. On the summer solstice day, I'm going to go up to Scotland and go to the Loch and loads of different mountains, because just Scotland gives me such a past life. Kind of it fills me with warmth when I see the Scottish Highlands. Some of the sacred sites at the top of the spine of Scotland where the Picts used to live. So the Picts were like a society advanced society which were taken out by the Romans because they were living with the land. They were living with, there's quite a few chakras points up there, some like sacral type energy up in the on the spine of Scotland. There's loads of different areas where the pics have drawn on the stones on sacred sites. So for me, that's my journey, is I'm going to go up there on a pilgrimage, on a sacred journey, and connect to the stone circles, go to loads of different pic sites as well. So it is inspiring, and I do feel we need that, Nalini, at the moment, to have some sort of plan for going out and retreating and seeing the world as well, instead of the room and our garden. So Kelly, what have you got coming up for you?
Well, I don't have any trips coming up, but we definitely will have something on the horizon. But as far as my sound goes, I'm offering like a monthly Zoom sound bath, and I hope to start to offer more different times to work with different time zones and things like that. I definitely feel just everything is in a process right now of opening up and expanding. Like I'm, open to more collaborations and however that flows, and just being able to share it more in different ways. Here in person, I'm at a few more locations and all that's growing. Um, and being at a couple different locations, so different groups of people and connecting more, so that feels really good. Yeah, and then I was going to offer for my harmonic portraits an Equinox special that I'm late to announce, so I'll probably be posting about that
It'll
sometime.
be a solstice special instead. Let's push it on to the next one.
It just definitely feels like we're in a time of it really, like there feels like there's a momentum and it's evolving for sure. This is like one of my busiest weeks that I've had since I even began to put sound, let alone during quarantine. So that feels really good for it to be picking up, especially in this current energy. So yeah.
Outstanding, outstanding. And I thought I'd share before you two take us on a sound journey. I had a very profound experience on my spring equinox ceremony 2 nights ago. I went for a ceremony with Craig, and we went to this wood area, and there was a kind of like a circle of trees, and there was a huge gap, and some of these trees are about 200 years old, and I've never seen the species of trees before. They're absolutely huge, and there was all ones like with the trunks wrapped around each other, and it was like a perfect circle in the middle, and there was like an altar of like a stump where I put my crystal skull and did the sage, and we had the fire in front of there. And um, afterwards, it was very special. We went for a walk, and it was the stars were out. It was pitch black, and we saw loads of stars. And we talked about the importance in remembering to look at the stars, because sometimes I do forget to go out there and have a good look at the stars and really connect to the star systems. And we were talking about our experiences of connecting and seeing UFOs and stuff like that. And we both saw this craft which came, this huge light which came from, I think it was like the north area near the Big Dipper. We saw it, and I was saying, oh, it's either a satellite or it's a UFO. You can tell by the way they move. And all of a sudden, when I said that, this light started going forwards, down, side, and it started like moving and changing directions. And we were both watching it, and I was like, "Oh my god, dude! There we go. They're showing us. Obviously, we put the intention straight out there." And one of them was like, "Yeah, I'll show you that we exist." And I said, "I bet they're listening and watching us laughing." And it flashed as soon as I said that. It flashed up and it disappeared and went. So that was for me. I was, yeah, that was a very special moment and a big sign for me that I'm not alone and we are part of this great universe. Lovely. So are we ready to, if Kelly, if you want to start off, then we'll go on a bit of a 15-minute journey. Yeah. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching this special show as well. And I hope everyone listening has a great equinox and has some time to go within and spend some time alone with themselves. Aho.
Can you mute yourself, Dale?
Of course.
Thank you, love. And then we'll switch off and Sister will take over. close your eyes and go inside. Breathe deeply. Long, slow, and steady. Allowing yourself the space to drop in. Dropping into your body. Opening your heart. Opening up to your connection with Source through your breath, through the vessel of your body. Through the opening of your heart. Breathe. Receive. Allowing any feeling of heaviness to fade away. over to Sister Nalinee.
Breathe and allow the drum to carry you high. Ground all the beautiful energy into the land where you are. Find your way with your guides, the power animals, the guardians of the land. Find your way through the portal of where you are into center of earth. Connect with earth, connect with your ancestors. Any residue, any heaviness, call on the healing energy of earth, healing energy and blessing from your higher self and your ancestors. Anything that you wish to let go, do so. Dance with your ancestors. Feel the joy and the gratitude of always unite. feel yourself as the field being of light, as earth. Feel the love and harmony flowing through you and through earth. Through all generations and generations of your ancestors. Gratitude that runs through the veins. Gratitude that connects us with all earth resources. With all lessons and experience. Breathe. Return into your heart. And feel the light and love and appreciation in this space, in this present moment of now. Breathe in deeply. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. So I just would like to share just a prayer before we close as well. Thank you so much again, Kelly and Nalinee. It was absolutely outstanding, and that journey was incredible. Thank you. I call to the four elements: fire, earth, air, and water. I call to the Great Spirit who lives within Great Mystery. You are the power of Mother Earth manifested. I call to your wisdom in this I am moment. Bless me as I walk your sacred soil. Bless me as I breathe your sacred air. Bless me as I warm myself with sacred fire. Bless me with your sacred waters of life. Today I travel to the great unknown in this equinox, and may my future be blessed with truth and integrity. Aho.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
And thank you, Nalinee. That was outstanding. And Kelly, I was almost in tears at some point, like in between the transition. It was the first part that Nalinee was getting me to want to really dance between that start dancing. I started going like that. I was like closing my eyes and already started to dance.
Yeah, for me, Kelly again is like that internal and external massage, and I just felt like, oh, I can just stay here forever. Should I book her? Maybe I should book her a session. I need a session with her. Yeah, I'll do that. Wait, let's come back to the present moment. But yeah, I love what she does, and I feel that we gel so well.
I'm just thinking that as I was as we transitioned, I was like, and goes first, so, and then she goes after too. But so it's interesting to start off. But I resonate so much with her sounds, her light language, the sound of her voice, and the drama, which just always instantly drops me right in. I was like, oh yeah.
I was feeling my root pulsating with your sound today. I'm like, oh, this is nice.
I
felt so much root.
I was definitely feeling the at the start was like we're in this teepee. I just kept seeing a teepee surrounding us, of like connecting into a teepee. I'm gonna have to find a teepee at some place. I've always wanted to do a ceremony and go in a teepee. I've never been in one.
I want
So
to be
yeah,
in a yurt. Oh, sorry.
yurts. No, it broke up a little bit then. Yeah, yurts are very special as well. There's actually a few yurts around this area, so which is really cool. But yeah, and Nalini, thank you so much. That was outstanding, and the both of you make me want to be my best person and be myself. So I appreciate you for doing that and those journeys I've been on with you. And for all of those listening, I hope you all have a great equinox, Kelly and Nalini as well, and you dance a dream and have a good time whatever you're doing. Thank you everyone for watching the Talking Stick Show. Thank you. Have a nice day, evening, morning, wherever you are. See you later, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye. Bye.